This is the presentation for Rachel, Saman, Margaret, and Nocona. The title of our article was Case Study, Campus Response to a Student Gunman. Asmussen and Creswell investigate an incident on a Midwestern college campus involving student gun violence. Increased incident of campus violence makes this a relevant investigation, and the study purports to build conceptual models for future study as well as to identify campus strategies and protocols for reaction. On an October day, a graduate student entered a science class in which he was enrolled armed with a vintage semi-automatic rifle. He made several attempts to fire the gun, but it jammed, and students were able to overturn desks and run past him. He left in frustration, escaped in his car, and was later captured in a nearby small town where he lived. The motivations for his actions were unknown, and campus police arrived quickly. We've identified several research questions. Number 1. To understand the case from the perspective of various informants, and then to describe the event factually, a sense of what happened. To study the reaction of the students, faculty, and staff after a violent incident of attempted shootout by a graduate student at a Midwestern university. To identify themes and constructs that emerged from campus reaction during the 8-month period following the incident. And finally, to identify the constructs that were unique to this case. From the research questions, 2 themes emerged: denial and fear. Denial in the sense that students did not flee the scene, but rather clumped outside of the building immediately following the incident. They also reported that the whole situation seemed like a dream. Those involved also felt fearful that a similar situation would occur again. Measures were taken by the Student Affairs Office, the Counseling and Psychological Services of the Student Health Center, the Student Judiciary Office, and campus security to both inform students of available safety measures and to increase overall safety. When the researchers wrote the article, there was no evidence of re-triggering, which Asmussen and Creswell define as new incidents of violence that would cause individuals to relive the feelings that they had experienced in connection with the original event. However, they do offer examples of how re-triggering could take place in a situation like the one studied. Finally, regarding campus planning, the campus had formal plans for many catastrophic events, including bomb threats, chemical spills, fires, and snowstorms. While individual departments and organizations on campus had protocols for dealing with gun violence, the campus as a whole did not have a formal, comprehensive plan. Asmussen and Creswell's research provide the framework for a comprehensive plan. As noted in the title of the article, this article presents a case study, a single instrumental case study to be specific. Some characteristics of a case study that the article contains are: Asmussen and Creswell select one specific case to illustrate the issue of gun violence on a higher education campus. The researchers use multiple sources of information, and the researchers do an analysis of themes related to the case at hand. In regards to participants, there was no specific number or gender of the sample were provided, but it included students involved, students at large, administration, campus security, faculty, staff, reporters, counselors, and trauma experts. They limited the study to the reactions of groups on campus, not off-campus entities. The setting for this case was a large public university in a Midwestern city. As for procedures, Kelly Asmussen and John Creswell drafted a research protocol for approval by the university administration and IRB 2 days after the incident occurred on the campus. Regarding the method, data for this study was collected through a semi-structured interview protocol that consisted of 5 questions. Data was also collected through observations, documents, and visual materials. This study has many strengths. The first strength of the research was that the research was able to be approved and begin only 2 days after the incident occurred. Had the starting point been delayed any further, the researchers would not have been able to witness as much of the immediate response. Another strength of this study is that they focused on the response efforts rather than the investigation or counseling. Particularly when thinking about gun violence on college campuses, the important topic of response is one that is sometimes overlooked. This study did not overlook it, but rather made the response the focus of the research. It is a strength of this study that the researchers were able to monitor and observe the response to a failed attempt so that other schools could benefit. In the context of 1995, this article was timely. While gun violence still poses a threat to college campuses, beneficial contemporary research would take a broader perspective into account that would include how technology, for example, can cause violence on campuses. What could be done differently is focus the study on violence on campus to include verbal threats, assaults, guns, and/or weapons. A future study might be able to include these types of assaults and how they can be reported to students, faculty, staff, and the general public. One alternative qualitative research tradition that could be used to answer the research questions posed by Asmussen and Creswell is the phenomenological approach. If the researchers had employed a phenomenological approach, then they would not have been looking at a specific case, but rather the common meaning for individuals that had experienced a phenomenon, which in this situation would be gun violence on college campuses. The phenomenological study would reveal individual responses and therefore could inform campus response. Thank you.